You might notice your breath coming in and out. You don't have to change your breath at all. Just simply noticing where you feel it the most right now. And if you want to, you could begin to breathe more three-dimensionally, just feeling the breath expand in all directions in your torso. And noticing how your mind feels this morning, how you feel emotionally. Just everything that is present for you this morning. Can you welcome it in? Trying to do so without any judgment. Practicing working with whatever is present for you in each moment, even in your physical yoga practice, your asana practice. And then if you want to, I'm going to invite you to do a mudra, which is a hand position. And this one is called Surya Mudra. And that means sun. Okay. So it's like increasing the fire element in our bodies, the idea of it, right? That's the intention of it. And I'll explain more in a moment. But what happens is your ring finger comes down toward the base of your thumb, if you can. Now, and then your thumb just rests on top. Yeah. And if that hurts in any way, of course, you don't have to do it, right? Your other hands, the other fingers kind of extend outward if possible and rest it on your lap. And with mudras, what I like to do is just breathe and notice how you're feeling. This one is meant to increase energy and inspiration, kind of that inspiration of the sun, that creative energy, that coming out of the dampness of winter and early spring. And just feeling your breath go in and out. And you could even pose the question to yourself, what is inspiring you lately? Or where do you want some inspiration in your life? And without getting into too much of the thinking about this, and you just notice what comes up for you, what's popping up in your mind or sensations in your body. You could always stay here longer if you wanted. Usually you'd practice mudras for longer. This is just a little taste. And whenever you're ready, you could also just move your fingers around, maybe spread the hands out and then close them. And again. If you want to take it, inhale, reach your arms up. And as you exhale, let's twist to the right. And again, gently turn to the right. You can always change your legs. They don't have to be cross-legged. Right hand can come behind. Left hand might come across to the opposite knee. And as you inhale, sitting up tall. And exhale, let's untwist. And then we'll inhale in the center. Again, you can reach your arms up however you want to. And then exhale, twisting to the left. Same thing, inhale, sitting up tall. And then exhale and twist. And we'll just do that one more time each side. You can move on your own. Good. And whenever you come back to center, let's straighten out the legs. And for this one, you guys in the studio will use a block. And at home, you can use any object, okay? We're gonna put that block or object right in front of your, right between your legs with your legs stretched out. I'm still sitting up on my blanket. You could also, if you have a lot of trouble sitting like this, could be against a wall or a piece of furniture for this, okay? So we're gonna do is inhale, you can put your hands down for support at first. And as you exhale, I forgot to say, start with it on the lowest height. Sorry. Good. Yeah, there we go. So again, inhale, sit up tall. And as you exhale, going to support the core and see if you can tighten the thigh muscle and lift the leg up and over the block. Yeah, you might have to move it around. Good. And then inhale again and exhale again, supporting the core. See if you can lift up and over. Okay, so we're getting those hip flexors working, right? Now you can decide, do you want to turn your block taller? You know, just see what your own challenge needs to be for you. If that was really hard, keep it low and just try some more. You can even try it without your arms supporting you. So just seeing if you can support your low back, right? You don't have to do that. If it feels sketchy to you, keep your hands there. Okay, keep breathing. And can you keep the legs straight? That might be tricky because it might be tricky just to even sit like this with your legs straight. Okay, maybe a couple more. You could always raise it up higher if you want to. And try to use your exhale to do this. As you use your exhale, that is the natural engagement of your core, right? So it begins that core engagement. And then just pause. And we'll try the other side whenever you're ready. You might want to start low. Each hip and leg are different, right? Hands or no hands. And when you're ready, you inhale, get really tall, and exhale, go for it. And you can always, I forgot to say, we could raise it up, right? Forgot. Is it harder than you thought or easier? It's harder than you thought, yeah. Okay. Good. All right. Now you can come off of that. Let's take the blocks. And if you don't have blocks, you can just put your hands behind you on the floor. And I'm going to take the knees to bend, feet on the floor. I'm putting my blocks on the low level behind me, and I'm just putting my hands on them. So I'm like this. You don't need the blanket. It's okay if it's there. You don't need it. And I'm going to try to just inhale and then exhale. I'm going to roll my shoulder heads back and lift my hips up and try to squeeze my glutes when I do that. And then inhale, lower down. And maybe I got to widen my blocks to do this, but maybe swing the hips a little bit back and keep my butt off the floor. Maybe, okay? You might not be able to do that part. It's okay. And just keep going. You just let your breath flow. You don't have to breathe at any certain time, right? If it feels like too much to lift, to do the rotate back, what you can do is just come down, right? So you just come down instead of do the lift back. Good. Now you can try this without the blocks too. If you don't like the blocks there, you can do it on hands, the fingers turn to the sides, or even fists here, right? And you can do the same thing. It's just a little harder to get that lift of the butt off the floor. Couple more. We're gonna get in some shoulder stability and glute activation here. Good. Good. And then next time you come down, let's just come all the way down and just kind of get your stuff. You'll still need a block nearby. So just get it a little bit organized out of your way. And we'll come down onto the floor. You also need your strap close by. And once you get down onto the floor, if you need head and neck support, just go ahead and put your blanket there. Let's take a couple of really wide breaths. So coming back into the breath, feeling all the contact points with the floor. As you inhale, feeling like it's three-dimensional, your breath throughout your torso. And as you exhale, you could use your ujjayi breathing, hearing that sound in the back of your throat, or you could also blow out like you're blowing out through a straw. getting every last bit of air out. Good. And then on your next exhale, let's bring the right knee in and give it a squeeze. And then we'll hold behind the leg, taking the foot up toward the ceiling, but with the knee bent. So this is, you guys that were here with me last week, we did this last week. We're going to take either your strap. Okay, so here are the options. Strap around foot, holding the strap with your right hand up close to the foot, like this. Okay, boom. Or if you're more mobile, you might actually prefer to use your hand and hold the outside of your shin, your ankle, or even the pinky toe edge of your foot. Okay. Your left arm is going to relax down at your side. And now push your foot into your hand or strap and pull down at the same time. So you're keeping the knee bent. It's like you're doing a lunge on the ceiling. So that right knee is bent, knee coming toward armpit. Yeah, knee coming toward armpit. Good. And then from here, let's straighten out the left leg and breathe. So you're pushing foot into hand or foot into strap, strap into foot. Good. And then from here, can you let that left knee bend as you rock a bit to the right and tap the right knee down to the floor? And then come back up to center and repeat. So you're just gonna do this little rocking motion. It's like a half happy baby pose. So the knee is bent toward the armpit or kind of toward the outer right ribs. And you're continuing to feel a strengthening action. So it's not all about stretching here. You've got it like your hip is working too to try to press the leg up. Okay, let's do a couple more of those. Remember I think you're all doing this, but just letting that left knee bend as you rock. Good. And now let's come up to the center. Now in this one, the left leg will straighten totally. And we're going to take the foot in your left hand, right foot in left hand. You could also hold the strap instead. We're going to make like a figure four. So now your shin is parallel to your chest. Okay. And your knee is, it's trying to be parallel. You're not forcing it. Okay. And your knee is pointing out to the right. Okay. Now, can you push foot into strap, strap into foot? So you feel that strengthening turn on. Extend your right arm to the right. Inhale. And as you exhale, we're just going to twist. So we're going to take that foot down toward the floor on the left and then back up. Providing a little bit of resistance and just letting yourself rock here. Of course, your left knee doesn't have to be totally straight. It can bend as you do it. I think mine's bending. Good. Now you can stay with either of these. I'm going to switch between the two. So I'm just going to work on switching hands. I'm remembering to let that left knee be loose as I'm doing this. I'm not forcing anything. Your right hand is the one you use when you go to the right, and your left hand is the one you use when you go to the left. Okay, keep breathing and just notice how your hips are feeling, how your low back is feeling today. Right. And in a moment, we'll notice the difference between the two sides and the hips as well. In fact, let's do that now. So we'll come up to center and just release. You can put your strap to the side for a moment and straighten out both legs on the floor, kind of feeling the two sides, noticing the difference in sensations for a couple of breaths. And then when you're ready to, you could exhale, bring the left knee in, give it a squeeze, and then hold behind it with that half happy baby or lunge on the ceiling. And then you can decide if you want to use the strap or your hand. It's going to be the left hand this time, left side. And then create that resistance between foot and hand. And when you're ready, you can begin just letting your breath flow. Remember to let the right knee bend as you rock to the left. So we're not trying to force anything happening around our sacrum by trying to keep that straight. And when you're ready to, can go to the second one where we make that figure 4 position, shin parallel to chest, right hand now holds strap or foot. Left arm extends, and when you're ready, you create that resistance as you twist, bringing the foot across your body to the right and back to center. And of course, you could alternate between the two right away. Do whatever feels right in your body here, always. Let your breath be continuous. Yes, we're going to get deep into these hips today. So this is giving you some information, like how are your hips feeling today? How might you need to approach the practice for yourself? Good. And then after you're done, you can come back to center and straighten your legs out again, noticing, following your breath in and out. And then let's inhale, stretch arms overhead. And as you exhale, let's just bring the right knee in and give it a squeeze. And then inhale, holding behind the leg. Let's stretch that right leg up toward the ceiling. You could bend your left leg if it feels better. So feel free to do that. Just put the foot on the floor. And now could you let go with your hands and just keep the leg up? You might want to roll the ankle a few times. Now noticing your breath come in and out. And on the next inhale, can you take that leg out to the right, but not very far, just a little way. And then exhale, engage the abdominals to bring it back up to center. We're going to do this several times. What you're feeling for is, can you stabilize your core? So you're only taking the leg out as much as you can without letting the pelvis rock to the side. So that might not be very far because your inner thighs might be tight, right? So just as far as you can with that stabilization going on and noticing. What would it feel like to stay out there? If it feels like you're going to topple over, but don't take it as far to the side. And then come on back up. Let's bend the knee and bring the foot to the floor. Again, noticing the two sides. Might take a sigh here. And as you're ready, inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, left knee comes in. Same thing here. You can hold behind the leg at first and stretch it up. You might decide to bend that right knee at this point. Okay. Releasing the arms. And just get a sense for how it's feeling. Using the inhale to go out to the left a little bit, testing it out. And exhale, engaging abdominals as you come to center and repeat. Exploring here. When do you start to topple to the side? And can you stay out of that range? Come right to the edge of it. Feel where it is. And then exploring keeping it out there and how that feels in your body. Good, and coming back up to center, bending the knee, come on down, notice. I take a sigh. And now let's bend both knees, feet and hips parallel, a little bit wider than your hips distance. And arms might come out like a capital A on the floor, wherever they feel best. We're going to inhale to press into the heels and the balls of the feet as you lift the hips off the floor. But we're not going into a yoga bridge where we're opening the chest. Instead, we're sinking the front ribs toward the back ribs, and we're engaging the glutes, lengthening the tail forward if you can. Really feel yourself pressing into your feet here. Keep breathing. Feel the back of your head pressing down lightly and then lowering down. Good. Just windshield wiper side to side. And now let's come back up to center. And this time, let's walk the feet just a little bit away from your hips. Away from your head toward just a step or a half a step. And then we're going to balance on the heels this time as we come into bridge. So the toes lift off the floor. Just going to see how this feels. Okay, so same thing, inhale, and then exhale, press into the heels. Same bridge we just did with glutes engaged. And now really press into the heels and try to feel the backs of your thighs, your hamstrings turning on. You might get a cramp and need to come down, right? So that's okay. Good. And now you might take your hands to your hip points. We want those to stay even. And I'm going to see, can I keep them even and step my right foot slightly forward without holding my breath? And then my left foot slightly forward. It'll dip, a tiny bit when you step, but you don't want it to fall, okay? And then I might try to take another step. So you might not be able to take too many steps, okay? So decide what works for you. Keep the hamstrings working. You might feel that. You might even get cramps. And when you get all the way out there, if you do, you might need to lower down and take a break. And you can just kind of wiggle the legs and you get out towards straight. If you weren't able to get out towards straight, that's okay. Just come down and take a break wherever you were. Okay. Notice if you're straining in your neck or your jaw at all. Gotta let that go. And then let's just step the feet back in. So we'll try it from the starting position, okay? So we'll come onto the heels, right? Inhale. Exhale, let's tilt the tail forward, lift the hips, get the glutes engaged, all right? So just find it here and then press into your heels, trying to feel your hamstrings engage. And then decide, you could always stay here. You could put your hands on your hips to notice. And you could try stepping forward with the left first this time if you want. We're going to try to go slowly. Now, if you were okay doing this, you might even try walking back. But just make sure if you're doing this walking that you're not going into your low back, right? And dropping down. You're really feeling those glutes engaging. Good job, you guys. Not too much shift of the hips, right? Keeping those hips from moving. Good. I'm just trying to get your hamstrings turned on. Really feel the glutes and hamstrings. And when you're done, you're done. You can windshield wiper the legs or bring your knees into your chest if that feels better. Take some deep breaths and notice. And then from here, we're going to take our block and we're just going to bring it below the hips in a bridge pose. Now, it could be on the low level or the medium level. And if you don't have a block, you could use a rolled up towel at home. Okay, you're going to put it right below your butt, your sacrum. Just notice how that feels. Take a couple breaths. Feeling the support of the block. Sometimes it feels good to rock a bit side to side. Now imagine that you're standing without the block on that left foot. So really press into it and let's take the right leg up toward the ceiling. But you're using the block. You're not trying to lift off right now. Okay. Good. Just notice how that feels. Really feel your left foot and leg. Now inhale. And we're going to use the exhale to see about taking the leg a little bit out to the right and bring it back. Like in the same breath. You could always use more than one breath. So we're trying to feel that stability here too. because we're not going to go and fall to the right. Imagine you were trying to do this without the block there. Really use your left leg and your core. You might even try to feel with your fingers on your abdominals and see, am I engaging here? Sometimes it's hard to turn those guys on. And coming back to center, you could bend the knee, put the foot on the floor. Notice the two sides for a breath here. Relaxing your jaw. And when you're ready, let's press into that right foot like you're making a footprint in the sand and reach the left leg up. To see how the side feels. Feel that right leg working to stabilize, and you can use your breath to take the leg a little out to the left and back to center. And, getting curious about what your prominent sensation is. Are you feeling this in your adductor, your leg? For me, on this side, I feel it in the front of my right hip. I'm just really tight there, so I can feel that. And so just noticing what you're feeling. And your sacrum is on the block, right? You're not off of the block. So you're still in that tucked position. And then bringing it to center, coming down. Good. Now you can hang out here. This is one option. Hang out here or do anything else you might want. Or you could try to lift off your block. It's engaging the glutes, pressing into the feet. You could even try to lift off the block and see if you could take your right foot off the floor. The leg could stay bent. You don't have to go up like we just did, but you can if you want to. We're going to try to keep the hips even as we're doing this. I don't know about going out to the right. I'm going to try it. Okay. You're going to try it a little bit if you can stay stable, but you can also put your sacrum right back down on the block, right? You don't have to be off. Good. Keep breathing. And then coming down as you're ready, rest on the block if you've been lifted off. And we'll try the second side whenever you're ready to, okay? So you press into those feet, lift off first if you're doing it. And then if you're doing one leg, you can slowly try the one leg. But be sure when you're doing this, you guys, that your hips are feeling supported. If you feel like you're wobbling, just keep 2 feet on the ground or keep your sacrum on the block. Good. Nice, everybody. And when you're ready, come on down. Good. You can come off of the block and lower down, coming either into windshield wipers or knees to chest. Noticing how you're feeling. Good. And from here, let's curl up into a little ball. Knees in. Good. And from here, you can start to rock forward and back if you'd like. Roll like a ball several times. You can also just roll to your side and come up if you prefer. Get your functional core going a little bit more. Remember, make yourself really round in order to roll. And then when you're ready, let's come all the way up to quadruped or hands and knees here. And spread your fingers really wide. Okay. I'm going to stretch out the wrists a little bit, pressing down at the fingertips. Now, if you have wrist issues, you could take your weight back off of your wrists, right? Otherwise, we're trying to stretch them. So we're going to put some weight on them, right? And kind of move around here. Good. I'm pressing down at the knuckle right here, right, where the finger meets the hand. And I'm also pressing down as though I could dig into the floor with my fingertips. Good. Good. Now from here, let's rise up on the knees and we're just going to inhale. So more of an active extension of the wrist, drawing the hands back as much as you can, trying to get them, perpendicular to the floor, and then exhale, make a fist and come down, flexion. Okay, and just try a few of those, noticing what your range is like. It might be different hand to hand. Good, one more. And then let's come back down onto our hands. Relax your neck. And we're going to just do a few retract and protract of the shoulder blades. So the spine stays neutral. And what we try to do is squeeze the shoulder blades toward one another. You can use the inhale or the exhale. And now, without doing anything different with the arms, I'm widening the shoulder blades, protraction. And then really letting the neck relax if you can as you do this. That'll keep you from elevating the shoulder blades as you do it. And this can be tricky if you've never done it before. Is like getting your brain to connect to these muscles can feel a little tricky. But with practice, it'll come. And it helps to create shoulder stability. It helps with neck tightness and stiffness. Okay, so next time you protract, let's stay protracted. Okay, feel those fingers. And now let's come back to downward facing dog. And you can move around however you'd like to in your down dog. Let your jaw relax, let your neck relax. And bend and straighten knees or sway hips. And now from here, let's exhale, coming forward into plank pose. Okay, now, of course, you could have knees down like this, right? You could be here with tail tucked. Protract shoulder blades. If you're in the high plank, let's lift the hips as high as the shoulders, if you can, and tuck the tail, engage your glutes and your thighs. And keep breathing. So your hips are not higher than your shoulders. They're the same height, right? And they're tucked. So you're not making an A like this, right? They're not up here. They're here. Okay, good. And then when you're ready to, let's just drop to knees. Inhale. And then exhale, can you lower down to the floor? And as you inhale, we're going to retract the shoulder blades, lifting the hands off the floor, squeezing the shoulder blades together. And then as you exhale, we'll put hands down, draw ribs in first. Imagine your belly's trying to get off the floor because it's a cold floor, and press back up. Okay. Yeah. So you can come to plank, high plank or knees down plank, and then inhale there. And we're going to do it again. So slow lower, trying to lower as one unit if you can. And then inhale, retract the shoulder blades. And then exhale, hands come down. Your core engages first and you press up as one unit, just as best as you can. You pause for the inhale there and repeat. So you can try a few of these. You can try several. You can go back to child's pose and rest. Okay, you can do it. What works for you gives you just enough challenge here. And you guys remember, tuck that tail as you come up. So you're not lifting. Some of you are kind of coming into a back bend like this as you lift. So you're like, see what I mean? Ow, that's going to hurt my low back over time. And I'm not using my core at all, right? Good. And when you're ready to be done, just stretch back to a child's pose or a down dog, whichever suits you. Take a few breaths. Notice your hands. Okay. Notice your feet. Breathe. And then as you're ready, we'll come toward the front of our mats in a forward fold. You can get your blocks if you want to, just on the way there. Let your neck hang out. You can bend the knees as much as feels good to you. I like to bend the knees and rest my torso on my thighs, soften the arms, soften the neck, feeling your breath go in and go out. And then hands above knees, let's extend the spine forward, get really long. And then exhale, bending the knees like you're sitting in a chair behind you. That's it. And then inhale, stand up, reach up. And exhale, arms out and down. you guys. And then just notice how it feels standing right now. You can bounce or hop, shake it out a little bit. And then with eyes open, let's just inhale and reach up. And exhale to fold. And you can take hands to legs or blocks. You can bend knees at any time. We'll inhale and reach your chest forward, get really long. Good. And then exhale, let's step to plank pose. Any kind of plank, right? Any kind of plank. You could even be on forearms if that's better. Just core engaged, okay? Core engaged. Glutes engaged. Good. And then from here, exhale, lowering down, however it works best in your body. And let's inhale to either a sphinx or a cobra pose, either one. Engage your glutes here too. And then exhale, let's twist to one side. So you could send one arm forward or just bend the elbow if you're in cobra. And inhale back to center. And exhale, twist to the other side. Inhale, center. And as you exhale, let's stretch the chest forward as you come down. Inhale, place your hands to push up. Shoulder blades on your back, just like we did earlier. Okay, core engaged first. So exhale, core engages coming up to knees or to high plank, and then back to your child's pose or your downward dog. Maybe take a sigh. Again, moving around. Can you find more of a rhythmic breath here? So perhaps inhaling for a count of 4 and exhaling for a count of 6. And just noticing whatever rhythm you choose to use. Feeling it go in, feeling it go out. Okay. Now on your next inhale, let's bend the knees and look forward if you're in down dog. And exhale to step or hop to the front of your mat. Okay. Then inhale, getting really long. You can stretch your chest forward. And exhale, let's bend the knees like you're sitting in a chair. Good. And then inhale, rise. And exhale, arms can come through the center or out to the sides and down. Good. All right, let's go up again. Inhale. And exhale, fold. Inhale, extending your spine forward. This time we're going to exhale to take the left leg back and drop the knee down. So I'm going to pad my back knee with my blanket. Okay. Good. So we're going to stay in a low lunge for a moment. So instead of a high kneel, which we normally do in here, just letting the hips come forward a little bit. And your foot, let's have the ankle below the knee for this one. Okay. Now, can you engage your back glute, your left glute? See if you can turn that on. Okay. And we're going to walk this right leg a little out to the right. I've got it all the way at the edge of my mat, but I might even take it further in a moment. I'm using my blocks. Inhale. As I exhale, I'm going to send the hips back, straighten or bring the leg towards straight. Yeah. And the toes toward the ceiling. Good. And I'm going to inhale and come forward. And it's this weird kind of angular. So I'm getting more into the inner thigh and groin. I'm actually going to walk mine further because I really want to get in there. Okay. I really want this angle going on. So I might have to move the blocks, find where you want to stretch into this and go between these two positions on your own. Okay. Back and forth. Doesn't matter about straightening that front leg all the way. Instead, can we think hips back, hinge from hips, reach chest forward? Okay. Good. Again, feel free to play around with it, right? With the angles, with exploring how your own body feels, even twisting. Good. Then stay in either position. Which one do you want to stay in? And where do you want your arms, right? What angle? Can you take really wide breaths wherever you choose to stay? Okay. And can you feel, so some of these are really stretchy and you guys are really stretchy. Let's can you feel some engagement like we did in that half happy baby pose? So if you're in the lunge, to feel engagement, you feel like you're sliding your front heel back towards your back knee. Okay, and your back knee forward. So you turn everything on. You're not just resting in a splits or something. And if you're back like this to feel engagement, feel like you're sliding your front heel back and you're sucking your thigh bone into the socket. Okay, good. All right, now let's come forward and we'll bring that foot back into a straight position. Inhale. Exhale, you can step to your plank pose. Now, your choice. You can go through a vinyasa, lowering down, and do it any way you want, right? You can do it how we did earlier, or you can just go back to child's pose or down dog. Okay. Good. You know, and by doing this, by exploring, you know, you don't have to remember everything from a class to repeat things at home. You just get on your mat and explore your body, see what you want to do. And whenever you're ready to, we'll meet with that left leg forward in a lunge. Okay. So if you're coming from down dog, you can bend the knees, get that left leg forward, pad the back knee, find your blocks. Let's practice the engagement straight off. Okay, so we get that first. So I really want you guys to get stabilized, not overly flexible. So we're going to try to slide this front heel back toward the back knee, and the back knee feels like it's sliding forward. You get your back glute turned on. Okay, good. And then you could do that on a little bit of an angle too, right? Walking that foot out to the left. Okay, let's feel that. Turn that butt on. Okay, and then can you feel that when you open up? So I'm straightening the front leg a little bit or a lot, lifting onto the heel. And then can you feel like you're sliding your front heel back and sucking the thigh bone into the hip socket? Hip socket's right in here. Good. And then moving between the two with control and strength. Using any angles you want to use. Good. And then as you're ready, if you want to hold either of the positions, go for it. Just be aware of not hanging out in your joints and just sinking in and stretching ligaments. Instead, we're trying to stabilize as we open. Use breath, use core. Good. And then as you're ready, you can come forward if you're back and just straighten the knee. Good. We're going to come back into our plank pose. Good. And then either go through your vinyasa or come back to your down dog or your child's pose. And all the vinyasas add is just keeping your heart rate up, you know, getting it a little higher, creating a little more warmth and energy. So it depends on what you're looking for. A couple breaths. And then let's inhale, bend the knees, if you're in down dog, that is. And exhale, let's bring the right leg forward and drop the left knee to your blanket again. Okay. And from here, we're going to come upright so that we're in a half kneel position. Tuck the tail under, engage your back glute. So you get a little stretch through here. Okay, inhale. Exhale. Good. Now from here, let's hinge at the hip. So we're letting go of that stretch and just bring the hands down to blocks or the floor on the inside of the foot. Let your neck relax and just notice how this feels in your body. Okay, is this really deep? Is it okay? You're making right angles at your knee. and your hip, right ankles. Yeah. Now you might be able to kind of round your back if it feels okay and let more of your torso come down toward the floor. You can see how that feels. Might be a huge stretch in that right hip, inner thigh, hamstring. So if it's too much, come up a little higher. And then also with this flexibility, can you also suck that right thigh bone into its socket again? So you feel like you're pulling your hip into its socket, creating stability in there. Good. One more breath. And then slowly, gently come up. You can use blocks. And to switch sides, what I'm going to do is take my blocks on the medium height. Okay. And inhale, step to plank, engage, protract shoulder blades. Okay. And exhale, left leg forward, drop knee, rise up, tuck tail, feel this stretch for a couple breaths. And then keeping these right angles, or we'll try to, we're now going to hinge forward, taking hands to blocks or floor. And then seeing how it feels to suck that left thigh bone in. So get that happening. Right. And then if you want to, you can round through your torso and let your head drop, maybe come lower onto your forearms. You can even use blocks there, right? Just noticing how this position feels in your body, but also keeping the strength, sucking that left thigh bone in. Good. Good. And then as you're ready, let's slowly rise up. You can use your blocks. Good. And exhale. I'm going to put my hands now on low blocks. So I'm just going to lower them down one level and step back to my down dog. You could always get your blanket out of the way, or you could just step over it in a moment. I'm going to inhale, bend the knees, look forward, and exhale. Can you step your right leg between your hands, between the blocks? Good. Now let's step the left leg forward a little bit and turn it out slightly on an angle for like a warrior one type foot. Okay. Yeah, so it comes to the floor. That's it. And now we're going to work the same thing. So can we suck this right thigh bone in? Okay. And then can you feel like you're almost wrapping your right glute and hip under, around and under, creating stability. Okay. Feeling the three corners of both feet. Let's inhale, reach your chest forward. Good. And exhale, could you let go? Inhale, reaching your chest forward. Good. And exhale, I'm going to turn towards your left, bringing your right forearm to your thigh. And now we're going to have to adjust the feet. So let's take that left foot, kind of walk it back to the line on your mat behind you. That's it. Good. Left hand can come to hip. That's it. And now can you do the same thing with your right thigh bone? Suck it in. Boom. Right? Wrap that butt under. Good. And your left hands can stay on the hip, but could you roll the left shoulder open possibly? You could even take it behind your back if that's accessible to you. Good. And breathe. Okay, so side angle pose. Right? You're feeling both feet working. You're opening your chest a little bit. Can you press down through the three corners of both feet and keep feeling that right hip wrapping under you? Okay. And now from here, could you keep your legs the same? You could always straighten the right if you need to. And inhale, lift the torso up, reach the right arm up toward the ceiling. Same thing with your right leg if it's bent. Okay, you're wrapping the hip under, you're breathing. Inhale. And then exhale, let's bring that right arm down. You might need to straighten your leg for a moment. Let's take a break, right? Come in and out. Because we're going to rebend in a moment. Okay, so when you're ready, rebend. Now we're in warrior two. Okay, inhale, arms out. Exhale, let's do eagle arms with the right arm wrapped on top of the left. So either give yourself a hug. This is one option here, right? Or wrap the arms if that's accessible and feels good. Whichever one you choose, breathe into this space between your shoulder blades, like you're widening it. And exhale, relax this space around your neck. Good. One more breath. And then inhale, let's spread the arms open, maybe even a little bit back. Good. And exhale, let's come back to side angle and then turn toward the front foot. So we're coming toward a lunge. Your hands can come down to the floor gently. And you can do any of the options we've been doing. You can step that left leg, right leg back and go to child's pose, vinyasa, or down dog, or all of them. Okay, just listening to your body here. Noticing how it feels when you get to a stationary position. Just pausing, checking in, feeling your breath go in and out. You could have your hands on your blocks if you wanted to. If it was helpful for you. We're going to be stepping that left leg forward. So we're going to inhale, bend the knees, if you're in down dog, that is. And exhale, the left foot can come forward. We're starting with those warrior one feet, but let's step that foot in a little bit, turn it out slightly if you need to. Feel the three corners of both feet, and let's work on that left hip. So we're sucking that left hip back and in, right? Wrapping it under. And so it feels really stable. Feel both feet pressing down three corners. And if you feel able and ready to, you can float here. Yeah, chest reaching forward before head. Good. Inhale. Then exhale, feeling your feet pressing down as you turn to the right with your chest, placing left forearm down, and then arranging feet. So stepping that right foot back toward the line behind you. Good. Right hand can come to hip or behind back. We're working on opening up that right shoulder, relaxing the neck, and working the hips. Right? So wrapping that left hip under, feeling like the thigh bone, that femur bone, is sucking right into the socket. Good. Keep breathing. Yeah. And yeah, you can always straighten the leg at any time or change it anyway. Now from here, we're going to try to keep the legs the same and see if we can come into that exalted warrior position. You just reach the left arm up. Back arm can do what feels best. Take a couple breaths. I can always come out of the bent leg. Remember, you're opening up the knee toward the center of the foot if it works for your body. And now from here, warrior two. We're going to first spread the arms, arrange the feet if you need to, straighten the leg if you need to. And then we'll exhale and take left arm on top of right for a hug or eagle arms. Okay. Focusing on relaxing around the neck as you breathe into the space between your shoulder blades. And feel the hips stabilizing you, feel your breath stabilizing you, your feet. And when you're ready, you can inhale, open up, maybe even stretch the arms back. And then we'll slowly exhale, coming to side angle again, forearm down to assist as you pivot to the front. Your hands could come to the floor or the blocks, and you could choose any of the options that we've been using. Just moving with your breath, using your breath here. Yeah. Just a couple more breaths wherever you've chosen. And now from here, just going to come down to our knees so we can do a little setup with the bolsters. Okay. So what we're going to do, for those in the studio, we're going to take our bolster and two blocks. Now, you guys at home might not be able to replicate this. You're going to see what you can do. Once we get there, you'll be able to figure out how to prop things up for yourself. So I've got both of my blocks set on top of one another in the center of my mat. The center, but front. Okay. And then the bolster is going to just lean up like this. Yeah. Okay. And then from here, let's just walk your hands back, rise up onto your feet. And then take your right foot outside the front of the bolster at the front of your mat. That's it, all the way up at the front if you can. So if you have to adjust it, go for it. Okay, we're gonna bend that right knee and come onto the ball of the back foot. So we're in crescent lunge. Okay, good. Now you can let the back knee bend and find this stretch here again in the front of that left hip. Okay, feel your feet steadying you. Keep feeling your hips squeezing in. Inhale. And then let's exhale. See if it feels okay to lean forward and straighten that back leg. I need to, for me, walk my foot back when I do that so you can see what works. And can you do the same thing we've been working on? Suck this front thigh in, wrap the hip under. And let's interlace the hands if that feels okay. Yeah, it might be hard to balance. Sometimes when there's things there, it just throws us off. And you can either keep the elbows bent, squeeze elbows toward like this, or you could straighten them. Okay, but keep reaching with the chest and roll the shoulder heads back and trying to find the steadiness through your hips. Okay, inhale. And exhale, balls of heels of that front foot, ball and heel. Good. Keep breathing, inhale. Now exhale, can you lean even further forward? Hip or hinge, that's it. You might even take the arms out to your sides like airplane. Good, inhale. Keep wrapping that front hip. Keep breathing. Good, now let's exhale. If you can reach your hands to the floor, I'm gonna do that. And just let your back knee bend and it will be on the bolster. Now, if you're really tall, you might have to make adjustments here. Okay, so how to get it there, just arrange. So what I'm doing right now is I've got my whole left thigh and knee on the bolster. If that doesn't work for your mobility range, then you can be up here. Does that make sense? So you could always be working right here with a nice padded knee lunge. And you can stay here this whole time, okay? Or even just come down and do it differently. Everybody calming your breath now, so just exhaling. And for those of us in this really deep lunge, we're gonna walk that front foot a little to the right, kind of like we did earlier. And the foot is below the knee or a little ahead. So it's not behind. Good. And now can you engage your back glute? Good. Now, can you bring your hands down if they're not already? And just see how you're feeling here. So this is where you could stay, but I don't want you to overstretch things if you're hanging out here. I want you to really work the engagements through your hip, okay? If you want to go a little bit deeper, you could take your right arm and just see, could you inch it underneath the other arm here? I mean, the other foot, not arm. Yeah, see how that feels. And then you're coming into, you're gonna try to bend those elbows so that I'm leaning fully, my chest is fully on my bolster. I'm fully supported here. This is why it might be hard for taller people. Might not have as much bolster. But as long as your hips are on it, I'm making a little shelf with my elbows and my upper arms. And then I might try to walk this foot off the floor and maybe even the back foot off the floor, straightening the leg up and off. Right? Just something to play around with. Keep breathing if you're trying that. Okay. You can also work, so you can play around. You might need to adjust where you are on your bolster, right? You might need to just like change it around a little bit. You might just do the front leg, or you might keep it bent, you guys. So this front leg, if it feels crazy to try to straighten it, you can bend it like this and see if you can work on, I just can't get the back foot off the floor if I do that. All right. Good. And then when you're ready to, you can slowly start to bring yourself up. So to bring yourself up, get your knee on that bolster. Okay, you can use your hands. And let's go back to downward facing dog. You can rest your head on the bolster if you want to. Breathe. Follow it in and out. Maybe take a sigh. And then you can walk your hands back, rising up as you're ready. And we'll do the same thing. Okay, so we'll take the left foot forward outside. If you now know what you need with your bolster, you can rearrange. We're in a crescent lunge, a little bit of a short one. First, we're gonna bend the back knee. How's it going back there? I can't see you guys because I have to stay in front of the video. I can't wander and see how it's going. This time I'm gonna wander. All right, let's tuck the tail a little bit, engage now that they know what they're doing at home. Okay, and then we're gonna go for the shoulder stretch first, right? So you can always stay knee bent, or you can practice this hip in, back leg going straight. Arms can be straight or bent. And I'm just gonna lean. So I'm practicing the hinge first because it's a deep hinge. Right? Hey, move that left hip back, keep breathing. Good. Right, so I know you know where we're going next, but try to be where you are right now and just breathe. Right? You can go to airplane if you want, spreading the arms out. Good. Keep wrapping that left hip. Okay, now let's try to come down. So I like to put my hands down first and just see. So I look back and then find the bolster with my back knee and then find how this is going to work for me, right? So you're adjusting, you're bringing your left foot forward so that it's below the knee or ahead, or whichever side you haven't done. If you did the other side, it's okay, right? And I'm just seeing, how's this feel? You know, depending on how your hips are doing, you might modify and work on strength instead. And feel like you're sliding that front heel back, wrapping it under as you walk the foot out. You can decide if you want to go down further with your torso and your arms. Can you engage your right glute? Yeah. And then you can start working the hands underneath, the arm underneath if you want. It's just an option. And we're looking for these chaturanga arms, right? We didn't do chaturanga exactly. We did push-ups, but you can just kind of walk the hands back and you're making a shelf. But that takes a huge hip hinge to be able to make a shelf, right? And then if you want to, you can start to experiment with that upper leg weight on arm, and back leg can try to lift off too. Yeah, so I mean, this pose is often done without the not often. By some people, it's done without the bolster, right? It's not often at all. It's very rare that people do that. But this one, the bolster's holding me up. So it's kind of fun. I mean, maybe it is. It's trying to. That's the goal. Good. Good, you guys. And whenever you're ready to be done with that, you can come out. Now, do what feels best in your body. When I did this earlier, what I liked was child's pose. But if you want to do a vinyasa or anything else, you just listen to your own body. So what I did was I kept my bolster there and rested for a minute. Okay. You know, everybody's body's different. Okay, so do what your body wants here. Breathe. Notice how your neck feels, how your low back feels. Might want to take one of those, you guys in the back there. What I did was I took one of my blocks out of the way, so it's a little lower. I think that might feel a little better. You could even take both out. Just snuggle up with the bolster for a few breaths. Good. Following your breath in and out. I'm just noticing here, you know, what your energy level is like right now. And coming back to whatever your focus was earlier, you know, where you might want some inspiration in your life or where you are feeling inspired. And as you breathe in, as you inspire with your breath, just imagine you're creating space for that inspiration in another area of your life. Cleaning out the cobwebs, like a little spring cleaning with your breath. Now, you could always stay here longer, but if you're ready to move out of this position, rise up, set the bolster aside, and you'll want the space on your sides a little bit here. I'm going to come all the way down onto my belly into Sphinx or Cobra pose. You can look around or move your neck. Come up high or stay down low. And from there, we'll take the right arm. So I've got my left arm like I'm doing a push-up. And then with my right, I'm going to extend it out on any angle. Okay, so not straight up, but out to 1 o'clock or 2 or 3. Okay, you'll see in a moment where you want to go. And I'm going to take that right shoulder and roll it down my back. So boom, see that? I just lifted it up instead of letting it fall forward as much as I can. Okay, and now from here, I'm going to look left, bend left knee, push into left arm, and start to take that left knee and hip off the floor, any amount. It might come around for some people. Your head might stay up or it might rest. What we're looking for here is a stretch across the pec minor, so into here. So you can try to find the angle, but also got to keep that bottom shoulder, trying to lift it off the floor and down your back. Right? Keep breathing. Good. You can stay there as long as you want, or you can come into the side whenever you're ready. Just be aware of your neighbor if you're in here. All right. You can go the other side, the same thing. So the key here is that we want to try to get that shoulder, that left shoulder, not to be forward, but to roll back. So that might mean you have to change the angle to keep it there. Okay. And when you're ready, and head can rest or it might be lifted. You might have to keep moving to find the right spot for you. Keep breathing. Big, wide breaths. Good, and then when you're ready, slowly coming out. Good. Now you can roll over if you want, or you can come up and flip around. We're going to be using our block or our bolster. Actually, the bolster is quite nice for this, if you want to use the bolster. I'm going to do supported bridge again. Either block or bolster below the hips. The bolster, for those in the studio, is just really soft. It can feel good here. So getting yourself into what feels like a supported position, a relaxing position. So if this doesn't do it for you, please feel free to do what you want. And then as you inhale, you can inhale and feel the width of your breath. And then exhale, lengthening your exhale. You could do that through natural breath, ujjayi breath, or even out through pursed lips. Let's do that a few more times. Just long exhale. And if there's any other position you'd prefer with the legs, for example, If you want legs up or one straight or anything, okay, anything you want to do here, feel free to explore. Could always be one leg straight, one leg bent too. Right, and with the arms too, of course, any arm position. If you can feel or sense your nervous system beginning to settle a little bit more here as you lengthen your exhale. How does that feel in your body? And also feeling the support, letting go to gravity as much as you can. So for the next few minutes, you can choose to either stay here in this supported position to end your practice, or you could come out of supported bridge and you might want knees to chest or twist before Shavasana. So go ahead and proceed however it feels best in your body. Trying to choose something that will help support you in practicing letting go. Letting go through your physical body, right? Any tension, you might check in with your jaw, with your eyes, your forehead. Checking in and softening if you can through your tongue and your throat. And if you've got a lot going on in your mind here, that's totally fine, right? But just noticing that. And could you let go of any storyline you might be getting into, allowing your thoughts to be there without grabbing onto them? And feeling as though you could soften through your chest and belly and hips. Through your inner thighs, lower legs, and feet. Maybe sinking a little bit deeper into the surface below you.